Sadly, most entrepreneurs are trapped in a business that would most likely collapse if they stepped away. Can you relate? But what if you could take 2 weeks off every quarter to travel or have a staycation or take a sabbatical where you make pottery in Italy and come back to more growth in your business than when you left it? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. I'm going to show you in this video how I built my business to essentially run itself. In fact, in just 2 days after I'm recording this video, my husband and I are going to Europe for 2 whole weeks. We are going to the Netherlands, Belgium, and West Germany. And I want this freedom for you too. So let me share with you how I systemize my business to run itself and how you can do this too. So let's dive in. Look, nobody knows the chaotic, unorganized, unsystematized business owner better than moi, okay? Because that was me. If you guys don't know my story, I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I went to art school. I was a professional photographer for 16 years. And I still love art. I have a sketchbook on my coffee table that I sketch in when my husband and I watch shows. I just painted a couple ceramic gnomes the other night. I was in pottery classes this year for over 6 months. I love art. I am a true creative, and with that used to come a lot of chaos. My house used to be messy. My clothes used to just stay in the hamper. After we would do the laundry, I would never hang them up. I would dread actually going on vacations because I knew that it would take me days to find what to wear, how to pack my suitcase. That now takes me like 15 minutes. My life was chaos. And when my life was chaos, surprise, surprise, so was my business. I remember when I was running my photo studio, I had 2 full-time employees and they had to come to me with everything, every single question, to know how to do every single thing. And that's because we didn't have systems in the business. I didn't learn this until later in life. In fact, I started my first business at 19. I had no idea what I was doing. So if you can relate to any of this, if you're like,
people are constantly asking me questions, or I can't step away from my business for one day, let alone 1 week.
This is for you, okay? Seriously, I'm going to share with you everything I know in this video on how to systemize your business. This is going to be life-changing. This is going to be life-changing. I really, really hope you will watch this to the end because yes, it will get you more time back, but it will also get you your peace back. Okay, so before we talk about team building and management and all of that cool stuff, first, we need to talk about the actual systems, because whether it's just you in the business or you have a team of people, but things are still chaos, everything needs to go back to the systems. Now, what do I actually mean by systems? Let's first start with SOPs. Now, if you don't know what SOP is, it stands for Standard Operating Procedure. It's essentially a fancy acronym for a checklist. So every single thing you do in your business needs to have an SOP. And even if you're the only person in the business, you gotta have these. Because let me give you a couple examples. Let's say, even if you're the only person in the business, you wear all the hats, right? You're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing the lead gen, you're doing the upselling, like you're doing the delivery, you're doing everything in the business, right? Well, how are you supposed to remember how to do everything? Because let's say you spend 3 whole months like creating a product or getting ready for a launch or focused on one part of the business, right? Well, after 3 months, let's say now you have to go back to growing your Instagram or growing your YouTube or writing emails again. It's going to be pretty hard to remember how to do that and how to do every single thing in your business, especially if you're not doing those things every single day. Well, that is why you need SOPs, because even if it's just you can now go to that checklist. So let's say you need to send out a newsletter to your email list. You can go and you can find that checklist or SOP and you can go, okay, step 1, open your CRM. Step 2, click on newsletter, click on create new newsletter, open a Word document, write the newsletter, schedule the like it'll be every single step on how to do something. And this is really important for you too, because how are you supposed to store every single thing in your head on how to run every single piece of your business? Okay, so that is one really important part. Now, the second important part, and this is the most important part, is even if you're a solopreneur now, if your business grows, you are going to want to hire help, okay? And do you know how much freaking easier it is going to be to hire help if you can hire someone, let's say, to do customer service, okay? And you're like, hey, this is our playbook, AKA a Word document. with a tab for every single SOP, like how to reply to emails, how to send a new email, how to check the inbox, like all these different things with step by step, right? If you have this built out and you do this even before you hire someone, think of how much easier it'll be to hire someone to do your customer service and just be like, here's the playbook. Like, sure, you might need to check in, answer some questions, but training that team member. Okay, and I'm pulling this number out of thin air here, but it's probably going to be like 300% easier to train someone, and they are going to be able to succeed at that role way more than if they didn't have any of these procedures or SOPs in place. They're going to be able to feel confident knowing that they're doing the right thing, they're following the right procedures. Otherwise, they're probably going to live in fear in their role that they don't know what they're doing and they don't want to bother you because they know that you're busy, and then you're going to be upset that they're not doing what you want them to do, and then you're going to fire them because you're like, well, that's a crappy employee, but turns out it wasn't a crappy employee. They just didn't know what to do. You didn't have time to train them, and you didn't make SOPs. Are you getting this? So not only do we create SOPs for everything in the business, literally, like we have a playbook for YouTube, we have a playbook for customer service, we have a playbook for marketing, we have a playbook for launching, like we have a playbook for everything with tabs with every single SOP in it in Word docs. You don't need some fancy SOP software. Just use Word docs in Google Drive. It's free and super easy to use. And yes, I started doing this with this business before I even hired anyone on. And now it's super cool because now I have a director of operations and we have SOPs and playbooks for everything. And she just checks in to make sure everything is going well and manages the team. And I get to focus on where my time is best spent, and that is content creation. And so in order for me to go to Europe for 2 months, really the only main thing I need to do is batch create content before I leave. And then I get to go on vacation for 2 whole weeks. I don't work. I don't need to touch my laptop. I don't need to do any of that stuff. And I actually took 2 weeks off in July as well to go to Wisconsin. I didn't even bring my laptop. I didn't work at all, and the business grew and ran without me. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about team training. Okay, so let's just assume you have a couple team members at least, and they have these SOPs and they know how to do their job for the most part, right? But there still is going to come a time where maybe they have questions, or we need to add something new to their plate, or they have some ideas on how to improve things. Well, here's what we do. So you might own a business or have worked in a business that looks a little something like this. You open Slack every day. It's filled with tons of messages. You're trying to get your work done. People are messaging you all day. Not at my business. That is not what we do. So here is what our team communications look like. So every single Tuesday, my director of operations meets with the rest of the team. So they have a team meeting, okay? And then my director of operations meets with me just once a week. So I only have 1 meeting per week with my director of operations. And then my director of operations and myself, we have a yearly planning meeting and a quarterly planning meeting. And then she also has a monthly planning meeting with the team. So the team is meeting once a week and once a month, and I'm meeting with my director of operations once a year, once a quarter, and once a week. So at most, I have 1 weekly meeting. That's it. And then on top of that, so in Slack, we have a channel called Daily Stand Up, and every single person on the team, they write something that went well yesterday or something fun they did over the weekend. They also write what they're working on today, and then if they have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. So this brings all of the communications to 1 post in Slack and 1 weekly meeting. So there's no messages between each other. There's none of that. They can wait till the next day, or they can wait till the team meeting. Of course, if there's some kind of fire, they could bring that up, but we usually have about maybe 1 fire per year. It's not very common. The other thing we do is we train our team to bring us solutions. Okay, so if you've had team members that are like,
well, what do I do here? Or what do I do next? Or I have this problem.
You should not be the person solving all the problems. So we have someone who's in charge of customer service. We have someone who's in charge of tech. We have someone who's in charge of managing the YouTube channel. So if something goes wrong in one of those areas, they need to let us know and bring a solution before ever asking what we would do. So they would typically bring this to the weekly team meeting to my director of operations and say, hey, we have this upset customer. This is how I think we should solve this problem. Do you agree? They might say something like, hey, we have this problem customer. I think the best solution is to refund them. What do you think? And then they go from there. So making sure you have scheduled communication, it's not just a free for all, okay? And you need to have boundaries. You need to make it clear from the minute you hire them, this is how we communicate. This is how we bring solutions to the problems. This is how we interact. Because if people just start messaging you all day long and you're responding, that is you saying, I don't have boundaries. You can bother me whenever you want, right? No, there needs to be boundaries, especially because your time as the owner is the most important, because you are working a little bit, hopefully in the business, only a little bit, but also you're mostly working on the business, and you are needed, especially as a personality brand, especially as a YouTube channel, and your time is most valuable in those certain assets. Most likely, the delivery of the digital product, creation of the digital product, the making of the lead generation videos for YouTube, things like that. And your time is not best spent, putting out all these fires, answering all these questions, teaching people how to do their role over and over again because you don't have SOPs. These are things you need to take the time to put into place so that you can have peace in your business. Now that you know all about SOPs and systems, I want to give you one of my SOPs, and that is my YouTube script template. This is the exact YouTube script template that I use to plan all of my YouTube videos, and you can get it completely for free in the link in the description below this video. Okay, now let's talk about automations, because most businesses are actually under automated. So let me give you a couple examples. So in my last business, we had a high ticket program model. Okay, so our program was $10,000. It was like a 6-module program or something like that. People had to apply. We had a sales team. Okay, so not a lot of it was automated. So if a sales team member got sick, maybe we were down to one sales team member. Maybe the sales team member underperformed that day. Something personal came up. Like, it wasn't very automated, and it heavily relied on the performance of humans. And because it was $10,000, there was a lot of deliverables. There were a lot of calls. There was a live event. Like, there was a lot of things that needed to be manually done. So when I started this business, I really kept in mind how to create a streamlined, automated business as much as possible. So instead of creating some $10,000 high ticket program, which, guys, I know that that's like all the rage right now, but I'm telling you, it is not that great. Okay, I am literally profiting more money now. We're going to do probably 600K revenue this year than when I was at 2 million a year. I am profiting more now. Okay. And I have way more peace. I'm traveling more. I have pretty much no stress. Like, things are good. Okay. So I'm going to share with you the business model that was like life-changing for me. So the business model that I chose so that my business could be simple, systemized, automated, and most importantly, heavily profitable is an automated webinar funnel. Now, in a previous video, I talked about how with my membership Freedom Creator Club, I didn't start with an automated webinar funnel. I waited until we reached $100,000 in sales in 1 year using just a checkout page, just YouTube and a checkout page. That's it. Then I went to my automated webinar funnel. So what we do is we have an opt-in page where people can opt into the free webinar. They put in their name, their email, they opt in. Then I give 2 live webinars, typically within 1 week, and we relaunch Freedom Creator Club. We typically raise the prices. We do these live webinars. We usually have some new bonuses. It's like a whole fun thing. Okay. And then what we do is we use Webinar Jam for the live webinar. And then we use EverWebinar with one click of a button to take that same live webinar as a recording and automate it. So then the rest of the year, people can opt into that same page with their name and email, but instead of getting a live webinar, they're going to be able to on demand watch my free on-demand automated webinar. So half the webinar is like training. The other half is a pitch to join my membership Freedom Creator Club. And then it goes to the checkout page where they can purchase. So you can notice here, I don't need a sales team. Okay. I don't need to be hiring and training all these people. And it's automated. I'm only giving 1 live webinar a year. And by the way, I don't even have to do that. I just usually do that so we can update the webinar, raise the prices, things like that. But if I needed it to go several years, it totally could. So the whole year, the sales are automated. Like, I'm making sales in my sleep while I'm traveling, while we're working on the business. Sales are coming in without needing to do calls, without needing to do DMs, without needing to do any of that. Now, I also very strategically chose a membership for my digital product because this automates things as well. People join and then they have payments. So if they join monthly, They are charged every single month until they cancel. If they join yearly, they're charged every single year until they cancel. This gives us recurring revenue. This makes running a business so much easier. You're not starting every single month at zero. You're starting every month with money in the bank. Things are automated. The team's running great. You have clear communications. They have SOPs for everything. Hopefully you can kind of start to paint the picture of how great it is to run a business that's systemized and automated. And if you want to learn exactly how I run my business, like how I grow on YouTube, how I create a digital product that's profitable, and most importantly, how I automate it for consistent income, you can go ahead and watch my free on-demand training. It is one of the first links in the description below this video. Another thing that I automate is instead of writing a newsletter every week or twice a week or once a month, I, once a year, write a 9-month-long automated email sequence that just runs. Okay, so I am not constantly having to do live webinars. I'm not constantly having to deliver things in my program. I'm not constantly having to write emails. Like really the only thing I have to do is every month for 2 days out of the month, I batch YouTube videos. That's about it. Like, and then the rest of the time I'm working like on the business, you know, the strategy, how can we grow, all those cool things. So in the 9-month automated email sequence, it's on average 2 emails per week. So every single person that joins the email list, they start at day 1 and they get 9 whole months of content. Now, if they don't buy our one digital product, our membership in 9 months, chances are they're probably not going to buy. So that's why I chose 9 months long, but that's what we do. And then every single year we update that. And then we start everyone back at day 1. Easy peasy. Now that you know how to systemize and automate your business, let's talk about how to have that CEO mindset that you need to have an automated business, to have a business that runs peacefully and scales, sometimes with you even being on vacation. Well, the most important thing you need to do is you need to run your business based on data and not emotions. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. You need to run your business on data and not emotions. Okay, so there might be a lot of things that creep into your head like, I think I need a website. I think I need new branding colors. I feel like my channel isn't doing well. I feel like people would rather buy this. Okay, those are all emotion-based decisions. What you need to do is create a spreadsheet. Call it your CEO dashboard. And this is where every single month you're going to track your revenue, your expenses, your profit, how many opt-ins you're getting to your webinar, or how many views you're getting on your checkout page. How many views did you get on your YouTube channel? How much money did you make from AdSense? How much money did you make from brand deals? Like track every single thing in your business that has to do with leads, nurture, delivery, upsell, all of those kinds of things in your business. And then once a month, you can go and look at all of that data and make decisions based on that. So if you're thinking,
well, I feel like my channel sucks this month,
go look at the data. Are the views actually down, or is it just in your head, right? Go look at the data. Are the sales actually down, or is it just in your head? Do you really need new branding colors? Do you really think that that is what is holding you back on revenue? No, probably not. And I'm sure most of you have this already, but if you don't, please, for the love of God, get an accountant. And they should meet with you every single month to go over your P&L, which is your profit and loss statement. And this is also where you can get a lot of that data to put in your CEO dashboard spreadsheet. And the CEO dashboard, you can also go over with your whole team. And so you're not the one having to input all the data. We have the customer service person put the customer service data in, the tech person put the tech data in, right? And then we're able to analyze all of that data every single month, every quarter, every year to figure out, okay, what is the next move we need to make to grow this business actually based on data. At the end of the day, building a business to run itself really comes down to simplicity, automation, systems, processes, and boundaries. I would say boundaries are also very important. Now, this might seem overwhelming at first if you don't have these things in place. So let me tell you, the best place to start is SOPs. Like seriously, whatever you do next, when you're done watching this video, if you go to write an email, SOP how you do that. If you're done watching this video and you go and publish a YouTube video to your channel, SOP how to do that. Even if you're a solo entrepreneur, okay? Start SOPing everything. It's gonna make your business way more easy to run. It's gonna make it so easy to hire help when you need it. And my friend, if you decide to sell your business someday for millions of dollars, they're going to want those SOPs. Your business is not going to be worth money if you don't have everything documented on how your business actually works. And again, if you want one of my SOPs, my YouTube script template, go ahead, download it completely for free in the description below this video. So now that you know how to build your business to run itself, you might be wanting to learn how to automate your income with digital products. But how do you do that? Well, it all starts with watching this video next here, because when you pair what you just learned with what's in this video, it's going to be, say it with me, way more powerful. See you in the next video.